March?
Yeah.
February. January. Well, you guys haven't changed much. Brian, do you see anybody
Sarah, no one has, Tim hasn't tried to join yet. I want the attendees box in. Not yet.
Thanks, Tara.
Who's the next in line? After 6, let's get the meeting started. I can't think who's the...
You want me to let you know to start broadcasting?
Miley, what do we start off with typically? I have some things I want to say, but I don't want to take away from what we normally start with.
Sure,
Roll call.
we're just calling to order. On this agenda is Pledge of Allegiance as well.
Oh, excellent. Jordan, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
When did we start doing the Pledge of Allegiance? I'm all for it.
Let's do it, Jordan. You take the lead, Jordan.
Take the knee?
Yeah, no, take the lead. You're leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't know it. I'm Canadian.
Let's
I
go.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just so you know,
I know how to do it.
I had pants on.
Perfect.
Yeah, I will remember it next time. I'll memorize it. Sorry, everyone.
So, good evening.
Next what?
So with roll call, it looks like Tim Kiernan is absent, and he's our chair. That would make Chris Eldridge our vice chair.
Okay, then he should control the meeting now. Let's go. Come on, Chris. What's the next on the agenda?
Okay, we would approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Make a motion.
Make a motion. We approve the minutes for the
Second.
previous meeting.
Second. We would normally open for public input, but since we are via Zoom tonight, we will pass on that unless we have any written public input. Ellie, do we have any that we need to read through?
No, I have not received any comments.
Very good. Let's move into old business. Reminder that due to coronavirus pandemic, all committee appointments have been extended to June 30th, 2021. Reminder that the Joint Council Commission meeting of September 29 has been canceled. Moving on to new business, election of officers for the fiscal year of 2021. And with that, do we need to go to nominations, or how do we handle that one, May?
Sure, if anybody would like to make a nomination for chair.
I haven't done it in a long time. I'll go.
Okay, make a nomination.
I nominate me.
You haven't done it in a long time.
Do we have a second?
Who's nominated?
Me.
Oh,
You nominate yourself?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It's America.
okay, I nominate Dick Vale.
Oh, there you go. See, I knew I'd get somebody.
Now you got somebody to run against.
Okay, and I nominate Parker. There you go.
So we got 3 so far.
We got 3. So we need to vote
All right.
or get seconds.
Do we have a second on any of those?
Look at that. Nobody wants us.
Wow.
I'll second the nomination for Dick.
And Parker, have you served as president previously or no?
I have. It's been a while.
Okay.
Okay, so I heard a motion and a second for Dick Vale for chair. Do we have a vote?
Sure.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. That would make Dick Vale chair.
Okay.
And so any nominations for vice chair?
Dick, that means you have to show up for the 4 meetings this year.
I'm not traveling anymore. I retired.
And your vacation.
I will. I'll, I guess, nominate myself to to serve as chair again this year, but see if there's a second.
Vice chair?
Vice chair, excuse me.
Okay.
You got it. I'll second.
You have to third it, already seconded, but
Oh, sorry, I'll third it.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Opposed?
like this. See
Okay.
that?
So Eldridge is vice chair.
Chair Vale, can I have a few minutes just to give a little bit of an update, if I may?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. So thank you and welcome back. A lot's happened since the pandemic started in March, and there's been a lot of changes, and there's going to be obviously some more changes as it relates to golf, and I wanted to kind of come onto this meeting and give you an update personally. So I'm sure it's not a small world that you're already aware that Gus has retired. Monday was his last official day with the city of San Clemente. We wish him the best. He actually, in typical Gus fashion, you'll like this, he bought a house in Arizona. He moved last week. He left Arizona, I think, Sunday night, drove to work so he would work Monday, his last day, and then drove back to Arizona. And so he's no longer a resident of the state of California, but we wish him the best. He's given us an amazing run of service, and so we commend him for that. But now we have to move forward. And so I wanted to kind of update you as some things that are starting to evolve as it relates to golf, and it's all good things as far as I'm concerned. So Jordan, who's been an amazing asset, we met with Jordan this week, myself and Samantha Wiley, the rec manager, to talk about the next steps. And so we're going to be working on reclassifying Jordan to take over the golf operations. And well deserved. And we're going to also reclassify and give Jordan a number 2 person so that when Jordan's not there, there's someone else that can relieve him and help him. And we're also going to be looking at seeing if we can add another position to the maintenance staff to help with that as well. What I told Jordan in my meeting with him this week was that we're working split schedules because of COVID. And with regards to the split schedules, one of the things that we have to deal with is the back 9. We've been getting a lot of chatter about when can we do back 9 in terms of playing the back 9. And with the split schedule, the problem being Jordan and his team start at the back 9 while the people start teeing off on the front 9. With a split schedule, that makes it even more difficult. However, I got to commend Jordan. He's working on a new schedule plan where we'll bring all the workers back, but we'll be dealing with a staggered schedule. So, for instance, some of the crew starts at 5, then the next staggered group starts at 5:30 or 6, and that 5 o'clock group is already out in the field, and then the next team gets their orders and they go out in the field so that they can maintain social distancing and so forth. That will afford us the option of bringing back the back 9. So I know Jordan's working with Samantha on those modifications to the schedule so that we're not a split schedule. What we're also going to be doing, hey, there's Tim. Welcome, Tim. What we're also going to be doing is Jordan is going to be working with his team to outfit them with new uniforms so that they can have some nice outfits that identify them as the golf course, and you can see them, and so that'll be something that's coming along as well. Now, with going forward, I know Jordan, and he's only given me the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of things that he wants to do, that he has ideas of improvements on, whether it's irrigation, whether it's different trimming schedules, some trees that need to be addressed, which have been an ongoing thing. I want to let you know from the city's perspective, we're going to be behind Jordan 200% to catch up on some of these things and really, really work on improving some of the areas that really need to be addressed, such as irrigation, so we can eliminate a lot of hand watering and some other things to make it more productive. And so I wanted to convey that. Secondly, all the committees and the commissions have been tasked with developing a work plan. And so I know on your agenda tonight, Samantha will be covering that, because you'll have to develop a work plan, and then the chair, Mr. Dick, will have to go in front of the council and present that work plan, and the council will approve that work plan. The whole concept with the council and the committees and the commissions was they wanted to make sure that the committees and the commissions were working on things that the council wanted them to work on. And that's not to say, and I can specifically that, golf isn't necessarily something that they thought people weren't working on what they should have been working on. But nevertheless, I think a work plan is good for the golf committee as well as the council and the public as to what you'll be dealing with over the next year for the golf committee. So that's something else that all the committees and the commissions are doing. For at least the near future, we'll be doing Zoom just because of the fact that the numbers aren't going in the direction that we want. And so it is safer for us to do this Zoom. And then, of course, if there's a little bit of a nice comfort level, because you can do it from your house or, in Nick's case, from his backyard, which is fantastic. Some of the golf things. So I wanted to bring you up to date. So Dave Cook, goodness gracious, get my name straight. Dave Cook had requested a 5-year amendment almost 4.5 years ago. And the original thought was, I want an amendment for 5 years and then I would retire. And so the city was of the mindset coming up on the 4.5-year marker that we would have to begin an RFP process for a pro shop operator. Myself and Samantha, we met with Dave and Vinny as well about a week and a half ago and wanted to know where Dave was with that. And Dave has come back and asked for another 5-year extension. We just received that in writing, so we will be taking that to the council, asking for another 5-year amendment to Dave's contract. So I wanted to communicate that to the golf committee as well. So Dave basically said, I don't want to sit at home during a pandemic. So we commend Dave. We love Dave, and so Dave will, most likely be on board for another 5 years.
Yay.
With regards to Wedgwood, I know that they have just started up micro weddings on the grass. They had Samantha, we had our first ceremony this weekend.
Yes, the first one was on Saturday, and I think they have about 3 more coming through the month of August.
And so it's kind of this new trend. I'm seeing it. 24 Carats is doing it, and a lot of other wedding venues. A micro wedding, it's about 2 hours. It's outdoors only, and it's only for immediate family. And there might be some light refreshments or snacks that are served, but it's basically a 2-hour ceremony with a little bit of a minor reception, and then they end it. We still haven't gotten any guidelines from the governor's office as to when we can go back inside to operate, whether it be a restaurant or, in this case, an event coordinator like Wedgwood or 24 Carats. I can tell you from the city's perspective and from my perspective, I'm kind of preparing that we're probably going to be seeing these type of guidelines for the remainder of the calendar year. The numbers aren't going in the greatest direction, and as you probably have seen, there's been a lot of confusion in terms of the reporting and how the numbers are being separated and so forth. While ICU and hospitalization increases have gone down or flattened a little bit, they still want to start to see a decrease. The governor does a press conference usually every day about noon, and we've been following that very, very closely. But again, all of our sources are kind of telling us that it's probably safe to say that for the remainder of the calendar year, we're going to see a lot of these restrictions in place. And to give you kind of an example of that, I had an opportunity to be on the Chamber of Commerce Business Council call today. The Chamber has canceled all of their events for 2020. So they're originally going to do a hybrid of Fiesta during Seafest, but they've shelved that. And so really now, from my communications with the Chamber, they're focusing on 2021 as their year for events. So 2020 is going to be kind of an interesting year because, we're already trying to figure out what we're going to do for Halloween, because going door to door or any other types of activities like that won't be allowed. And then we're also thinking about Christmas. I know it seems a little early to think about that, but we have to start thinking about that because we have some pretty large events that we normally do. And so Samantha and her team are working on some different ideas for that. But I'll also give you a quick picture from the city's perspective. All of our staff are on split schedules. So 1 week they're in, the next week they telecommute. And it's been working well in terms of trying to keep a separation and not make sure that a group gets infected, if you will. We are still not open to the public, and we probably won't be opening up for public service probably not until September. It just, again, depends on the numbers. We are functioning, so we're taking in plans, pulling grading permits, and being able to continue with those things. And we're lucky in that respect. But our community center is only open for, we have some youth camps going on right now, but the actual facility itself is closed. Vista Hermosa is open for pool, so it's reservation only, and so it's kind of a touchless program. And then obviously our parks are open, but for walk-on passive use. On August 3rd, the governor did announce that he provided guidelines for youth sports camps. So Samantha's team has begun again permitting youth sports camps, but the real simple fact of that is kids can be together. The cohort group has to be the same throughout the whole duration of the camp, so there's not new kids on certain days. But they can't do practices, they can't do scrimmages, they can do exercises and conditioning that maintain 6-foot distancing. So it's kind of a challenge, but at least it's getting the kids out, whether it's soccer or I think it was lacrosse you mentioned, that are kind of returning and keeping the kids busy, because obviously as we go into the fall school year, a lot of kids are going to be working from home remotely for online school, and they need some type of outlet. So that's a good news. From a budgetary standpoint, I've wanted to share with you, we closed out the fiscal year June 30th of 2020 in the positive. We did very well. We were comfortable in forecasting that we were going to be able to break even, and we actually came out ahead. Property tax payment, about 99 cents per compliance of people paying their property taxes, which is 53% of our revenue for the city, so that was a good thing. Sales tax, while we did see a dip, we are already seeing it climbing back. We are going to be meeting with our sales tax consultant next week to kind of see how things are going. Obviously, we did see a dip in certain business categories for sales tax, but I can also say we saw increases in sales tax, and an example is Lowe's. Lowe's has seen numbers that they've never seen before, because in the pandemic, people are going to Lowe's or Home Depot and doing those home projects and so forth, and so that's a taxable transaction. And so while some categories may have gone down, we saw others go up. And of course, we want to see all the businesses do well. One of the things the city's taken on is we have an economic development officer who's leading the charge with permitting restaurants to dine outdoors, be it on Del Mar or at the Pier Bowl or even Fisherman's on the pier. And so that's a program that we think is going to be around for a while. And so we're now looking at some improvements to kind of make it look more visually, aesthetically pleasing, and also kind of create some permanency for those businesses with regards to that. So that's a good thing for our businesses. We've permitted some hair salons and barbers to be outdoors as well. So we have those operating. And so from a city's perspective, we're doing fairly well. We haven't, knock on wood, haven't been hit traumatically by COVID. We've had a couple of indirect exposures, and we've had a couple of COVID positives, but we were able to, through social distancing and split schedules, really minimize that impact to our workforce, which is important to us to protect all of the employees. With Gus's departure, kind of going back to that, just to kind of give you an idea of the line of command. So Samantha, our rec manager in BPR, is going to be managing Jordan and the golf operations. And so what you'll be seeing going forward with these golf committee meetings is both Samantha and Jordan kind of doing a tag team together. But I really want to stress that I want to throw a lot of love at the golf course. And so I know there's a lot of ideas that Jordan has that we're excited about in terms of irrigation improvements, bathroom improvements, and even some security enhancements. And I know there's been talk about, the other bathrooms in the clubhouse and other types of things. And so over the next year, we really want to focus on devoting not only our resources and financial, but we really want to support bringing the golf course to the next level. I've had a couple of different courses call us wanting to know what we're doing because our numbers are just fantastic. We're maintaining the 12-minute separation for tee times. And then we're also, as Samantha's been communicating, we're going to be upgrading to 4 up for both the online tee times and the cash taking, or the payment system. And so a lot of steps moving forward to kind of integrate those COVID securities with touchless points and making it easier for them. And so I know Samantha's going to be able to go into those in more detail, but I really wanted to personally deliver that message to you in terms of what we're going to be doing going forward. I've heard from multiple individuals on the golf committee. They love Jordan. I've heard from Dave Cook they love Jordan, and I've even heard from other staffers in the city they like Jordan. So I feel like we have the right individual in the seat to really drive it to the next level, and really, continue to do justice as to what Gus provided for the city. So we're fortunate in that respect. With that, I'm going to stop talking, and if this is your opportunity, if you have any questions for me, please ask me. I stand ready.
I got one, Eric. Jordan's number 2, his assistant, are you going to promote from within or get somebody from the outside?
Haven't talked about it. I always prefer to look in-house before I look out-house. And I'm going to really lean on Jordan to provide that input. But I think we want to look internally first before we look externally. We also recognize that we may have some employees that are going to probably be coming up to their retirement soon as well. And I really, really want to make sure that we have plans in place from a succession standpoint so that Jordan is not left shorthanded with resources. And speaking of that, Jordan right away brought up the whole idea of doing seasonal staffs during the summer to help with the summer crush, which I think is great. What I've told Jordan in the immediate now is that if he needs to bring some landscape contractor, and I think we were talking about Ed Stewart, Jordan, as doing some supplemental work now to help Jordan kind of catch up. The city's fully supportive of that. And so I know Jordan, we just talked about this on Monday, so I know Jordan's probably still working on it, but Jordan's going to be looking at some contractual stuff to help kind of plug us up while we're looking at changing those staffing levels for the golf so that we can really bring the golf course up to the level it should be. And then I'm not saying it's at a bad level because they've done great with the split schedule and everything else to maintain it, but I think you all agree we can do better. We can always do better. And so that's something that we're going to put into place as well.
Eric, I have a couple of questions for you.
Only one, Nick.
Regarding the snack bar.
Yes.
They're very limited in what they have. People are griping about that because, Lori does a great job, but there is much going on. And I understand they fired Robin, so there's no cart. I don't know if that's going to be an issue. If that's going to be back out on the field at any point? Is that strictly up to the restaurant?
I had a conversation with Wedgwood probably a little over a month ago when me and Dick had talked about the concessionaire concerns that you brought forward, and I was assured that they were, they opened in July, if I recall correctly. I was assured that they were ready to open up and be 100% pro service. Their contract requires it, as well as the golf cart for the beverage cart. I have no qualms with I thought the beverage cart was still operating, but Samantha can talk to Wedgwood. I want to see that, and if there's issues with their performance, I want to address it head on.
Okay, yeah, because there's not much to food and beverages out there for us to do. I was thinking maybe a food cart, a roach coach if we had to, something to get more food out there. I don't know if Wedgwood has much to say about that.
When it comes to food sales, that's their business. So I would hope that they would want to work with us. So we will definitely take it up.
Okay.
Another question, sir.
I had volunteered to do weed whacking. Right, Jordan?
I'm going to
the bunkers. They've got a lot of grass around them. I'll go out there and weed whack.
Yeah. Come on out. Luckily, we're going to have Ed Stewart come out next week, hopefully, and help us out with some detail stuff. So,
right,
but you're more than welcome to. I'll put you to work.
I will. I'll hook up with you.
Careful there, Nick. I know a guy who got in trouble for that.
Are there any other questions for me, please?
No, not for you.
Great summation and presentation, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
I appreciate everything you do, and I hope, I know you're in great hands with both Samantha and Jordan. I just want you to know from the city's management side that we value the golf course, we value the golf committee, and we really, like I said, really want to use 2020 to really focus on a lot of different things to really improve the golf course. And again, I'm not saying it's in a state of needing improvement, but we can always do better, and we want to do that. And so I appreciate it. I appreciate your commitment to the commission and the providing this service. But with that, I'm going to excuse myself. I have another call to do. But Dick, you always know how to get a hold of me. And Chris, thank you for being the chair and now the vice chair, and thank you, committee members. Did I have to ask, Darlin, is that all that sports memorabilia in the room on Zoom calls now? There's a fascination of bookcase, right? What's behind the person? You've got quite a interesting backdrop. That's very cool.
Yes, thank you. My daughter played professional soccer. She's also a firefighter, so there's a lot of firefighting things. She played in the Women's World Cup, so there's World Cup stuff. And I'm obviously a hockey fan, so we have hockey everywhere.
Most excellent. Most excellent. Yeah. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Please stay healthy, be safe. And Dick, you know how to get a hold of me as the chair, and please feel free. Samantha's going to cover tournament plays and some other things on the agenda tonight to bring you up to speed with everything, but I really, really appreciate your time.
Keep up the good work, Eric.
So, Tim, bring you up to speed, Eric, too, and Dick is the new chair.
He's going to always be calling me all the time. He's very needy.
I do.
He's lonely.
That's okay. I can be his buddy.
Have a great
day.
We appreciate the support.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks. So who's going to lead us in this development committee work plan? Is that you, Miley, or is this you, Samantha?
I will jump in, Dick. Thank you. And I just, so you guys have a little background on me, I've been with the city for almost 18 years, and I took lessons at the golf with Linda Cook as a kid, so the golf course is near and dear to my heart. It's a special place, and I'm excited to come alongside you guys and continue the great efforts of the San Clemente Muni. It's a wonderful course, and you guys are all really good people. I've heard nothing but good things about this fun committee. So I echo what Eric said. I'm here to support you guys in whatever you need. Now, for the development of the work plan, this is really an opportunity for us to crack down on what we're looking to move forward through the golf course. If there's maintenance things that we want to touch on kind of a high level, and we're not going to get into the weeds necessarily, but you know, some of the things that you'll consider, and this definitely moves right into the next item, which is that update of the fee and operating policy. What we found through the transition to 4UP and kind of this COVID time is we have an operating policy for the golf course that's back from 1998. There was one very small revision made regarding the tires on personal golf carts, and you guys are probably aware of that. But beyond that 1998 that the operating plan is certainly outdated. It doesn't really address the dawn of the internet, if you will, and payments ahead of time. So that it might be something you guys want to look at with the work plan, but this is really committee driven. It's however you guys feel your time and efforts would be best spent. You guys obviously have 4 meetings a year, so if you feel like you have things that you really want to crack down on, then let's talk about those first. So with that, I can answer questions, or you can kind of just have an open dialogue between the committee members and see what you guys can all concur on. And you don't have to have pages and pages of a work plan. You know, the goal is to have maybe 3 or 4 projects that you work on. That would be one a meeting. That's how some committees have broken it down. The other option is, you know, if you have 2 big projects, again, because you have 4 meetings, you can break that up into 2. Those are some of the things that the committees have looked at as they develop their work plan. And I can tell you the BPR Commission, which is the other group that I oversee, is focusing on some fee studies. That's our plan. We're going to look at our site-specific plans. We're going to look at revenue generating methods, that kind of thing, reservations, all of that, just to kind of give you a taste of what other commissions and committees are doing. So I'm happy to take questions or let you guys just kind of take the floor and bounce stuff around.
Should we
Chris Eldridge,
a subcommittee like we do for greens and you know, the restaurant? How does everybody feel?
Turn your volume up, Dick.
Sorry, should we set up a subcommittee for doing this, or should we just all meet when we meet regularly, or how do you want to handle it?
I think this is an all hands-on deck type of meeting. But
we need to do from
October. Get the course committee together who was it, Tim and you and I and Jordan to go around the courts. We haven't done that in 6 months.
Yeah.
This might be a good time.
Talking specifically of the work plan, the operation plan. How do we want to address that? How do we want to do that? We want to meet as a group again. Should we adjourn this meeting in a month from now? Can we do that, Samantha? Is that possible?
You can. Council just needs this work plan back by October 1st. So if you wanted to adjourn to a special meeting specifically to address the work plan, that's totally fine, Dick. That would be in your purview to go ahead and do that. If you want to table this as old business and we can bring it back at a special meeting, that's totally fine.
Okay. So I'm going to suggest that to the group. Is that okay with all of you? That we have it sometime in September? Does that work for you?
Can we do a socially distanced in-person meeting?
Sure, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick, Chris,
there aren't that many of us. We could spread out.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to propose that we come up with a few items that, if nothing else, are a good thought starter of the things that we want to look at as potential components of this plan. And that may also lead us into others. I'd say let's do it rather quickly. I have two that come to mind. One is, as we look at rates, we also look at talking about or sharing publicly, putting it on the board and club, the areas where we're working on the golf course. What are the things we're doing to make improvements? The second would be we take a look at our website. If I wanted to go online and make a reservation for a tee time at San Clemente, how does that compare to the websites used by other agencies? I think in the past we've had some conversation and several of us have used different tools and found that ours arguably isn't as soft and easy and intuitive as some tools are. So I'd like to have
ours right now is the same as Oceanside's. It's relatively easy.
But I'd like to have a comparison. If we decide that ours is perfect and we don't need to make any changes, great. But let's at least take a look at that. Those are two things I'd like to put on the agenda for consideration. And I think the other members of the group could also offer up one or two, and then we can send those out, think about them a bit, and when we do come back together, go deeper on each of them.
So I agree with that. I think it's a great idea for us to throw out some ideas so we have something to base our thoughts on before we come back together. And I want to go back to a marketing plan, which we talked about a couple meetings ago, that we have to have something more than just our website and hope that people get to it. And so I believe that that should be a key focus of what we work on.
No, I totally agree with you. And the 4UP software actually has a marketing component available to it. It might be an add-on or something, but that's part of what we should look at, I think, when we look at marketing.
And I can speak a little bit to that. And so yes, 4UP has a really in-depth capabilities, and we're just scratching the surface right now. Obviously, we're, I think, maybe 48 hours into actually going live with 4UP and using it on site on reservations. So with our package that we've purchased, we've been with 4UP since 2014, but now we've added the point of sale system, which really broadens the scope of capabilities within 4UP.
Oh, you went mute.
You went mute.
I went mute. Is that better?
Yeah.
There might be some opportunity based on what Chris's comments were. Maybe we can do, if it's a study session or some kind of brief, if it's on the agenda, that's fine too. Kind of a back-end tour of what 4UP looks like so the committee's aware of the capabilities.
Yep.
We'll say Miley is really our guru on that. And again, we're really just scratching the surface of what we can do. I think we can really get polished up, and there's a lot of capabilities from league play to, cart services. There's all kinds of stuff that really we can go into, and they do have a marketing component which is included in our service. And again, we haven't dug too deep into it, but the capabilities are there. And then from a marketing side, that is, in recreation, that's all we do. We are there to sell our services, whether it's a facility rental or a beach camp or a park rental. So I do want to help you guys with that. And we do a lot of things in VPR that I think the golf can glean on, absolutely. So if that's something you guys are interested, maybe we can look at doing like a demo day with 4UP so you guys can get a better feel for it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
I have a question, Samantha. I spent 1.5 years in advertising, and I certainly understand marketing. But when we're down to 12-minute starting times that you can't get because the course is filled, what are we marketing?
But this is next year. That's why we're doing it, is so that we have a plan to take us forward into next year when hopefully there won't be those 12-minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's true. The 12 minutes isn't forever. We know that. I will say and you guys can see the revenue. We're not that far off at 12-minute tee times. We're nearly at the same marker at 7-minute tee times. So for that sense, what we've gleaned at a staff level is that we have a lot of people that are reserving tee times and maybe they're never showing up. So we're losing that revenue in a sense. To your point, and this kind of again folds into item 4C, is that I think we can maybe scoot our tee times back down a little bit. Maybe we start to go to a 10-minute and see how that goes. But again, the goal is to drive the tee. We want more tee times. We know that, but we also don't want to just throw everything out the wall and see what sticks in a sense. So I think that's where that marketing comes in as well. And we do need to clean up our policies a little bit related to that also.
Well, the tee times probably should be at 8 minutes anyway, because when they were at 15, we were on the tail of the group ahead of us by the third hole. We had to wait till they teed off or walked off of one green before we hit. And so consequently, we're 80 yards, 100 yards behind them all day long anyway. But we caught them by the third hole.
Yeah, and we're prepared to, and like you've noticed, we did start at 15. We're down to 12. We're prepared to go to 10, but that really relies on Jordan's team to make sure it's manageable for them. And then the other factor in that is the carts. With single rider only, I'm cognizant and fully aware of the limitations. If we don't have enough carts, we want to be aware of that. So that's kind of part of all of those functions. I do believe Vinny and Dave would be comfortable going to 10 minutes, but we can certainly work on that as well.
Yeah, the single person in a cart is killing Dave. He's running out of carts like they're going out of style.
Right. Yeah, and we're aware of that. So again, that bumping the tee times, tightening it up, will further impact that potentially.
Okay. How do you want to proceed, folks? Do you want to meet in September, pick a time in September where we meet outside, everybody brings a chair, and we hash through this, or do you want to we should have some, as Chris says, we should have some input from everybody by a certain date. So do you want to set that up for like the end of the month of August? Is everybody around for the month?
Yeah, so what we'll do is email our suggestions.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
You can put them all together for discussion.
Right. And I'll put it on the agenda.
Jordan, one thing, the tee markers.
What tee markers?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I know maybe it's a maintenance inconvenience, but nobody touches the tee markers when they're out there.
So the idea behind not having tee markers, the fact that we can mow the tees. We mow the tees 3 times a week. We have 4 sets of tees. So yeah, we have 8 tee markers. So we have one guy take them off, one guy put them back on. And by the end of the week, that's probably 3 or 4 hours of manpower. So that we don't have. So that was the idea behind tees. So starting this weekend, we're going to put them back on. I got them all ready to go. They are freshly painted and drying. So yeah, I'll probably come in Saturday morning and put them back out. But that was the whole idea behind not having tee markers. And now that we got our crew back, sort of, we can have them out for sure.
Tee box is getting trashed.
Maybe if you let Nick know when you're going to start mowing, he can come right in front of all the mowers and pick them up and put them back.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, depends on how early that is.
Okay, you put the gray tee markers in also?
Yep, they'll be out there.
So Dick, did you want to pick a date so we have
Yes,
something?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Friday, either the 21st of August. That gives us 2 weeks. Is everybody okay with that?
Works for me.
No,
No?
no, can't do Friday.
No.
No, it's the deadline for putting your information in, or your question.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, if that's the deadline for us sending it in, that's fine.
I mean, if we can't get it together in 2 weeks, I mean.
Yeah, no, I thought he meant the date of the meeting that we were gonna.
I'm thinking of
And Rick,
September.
I would vote we go a week. Let's do this now and give us a week to put it in, and then we also need to plan out a date to meet together as a group.
So
But I can't imagine coming up with an idea in 2 weeks that I couldn't come up with in a week.
Yep.
what are we coming up with? Improvements for the golf course?
Parts of our work plan, so the high level
for the work plan.
thoughts of what we believe should be in the work plan.
So what do you want to do, Chris? The 14th?
Yeah, let's see. What would we accomplish? What do we hope to accomplish in the coming year as a golf committee? Here are the list of items by the 14th, close of business of August. So we've got 8 days to put that together. Send that to Mailey, I'd assume.
Yes.
And feel free to CC everybody on the committee, because you may spur some ideas that we didn't think of, and we may want to take it a step farther.
As a point of order, you can't CC everybody. Sorry, that's too many people involved. So just
thank you.
We'll submit to Miley, and then she'll send it to us.
Perfect. Yeah, she'll compile it all and get it. Yes, we'll handle it.
Yeah, good.
Okay, August 14th.
And just so we're clear on this, am I correct in thinking this is going to be like a short summary, maybe a few bullet points type of thing? We're not actually completing different sections of the work plan, correct?
Yep.
Just your ideas for development. Yep.
And for discussion.
I'm sorry?
Perfect.
For discussion. Ideas for discussion at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, when do you want to meet physically? Does the first week in September work?
Works. Normal day, Thursday afternoon?
I will be out of town the first week of September.
When?
I leave on the 29th and come back on the 6th of September.
Okay.
Would Monday night the 24th be too early? 6 p.m. on Monday the 24th of August?
Works for me.
Fine with me. Our deadline, Samantha, is the 1st of October. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Works for me.
Okay.
August what day?
August 24th, 6 p.m.
Yeah, that's fine for Monday, August 24th.
We'll figure out a place to meet up.
Yes, I'll figure that out. Maybe by the chipping area or something like that. We can all meet at the
Bring a
golf
chair.
course, chipping area.
Bring a chair.
Your house at the backyard. Dick.
Or my house in the backyard, yeah. All right. We'll do that. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Works for me.
Oh, I need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Okay.
We'll do it later. But I'll need a motion to adjourn the meeting
Wait, I got one more thing for Jordan.
I'm sorry.
Can I wait on this meeting? Is that Samantha? Is this all right? Because from what I understand, if there's more than 3 members, we have to put it out to the public.
Yeah, you do have to put it out to the public. So your location might be difficult. I'm trying to use my city clerk's hat to figure out the best way to go with this. I think your safest move is to adjourn to a special meeting on August 24th at 6 p.m. And it's likely that it will have to be via Zoom again. Now, if you guys want to meet on site, I would recommend that we pair off. And I'm happy to meet in groups of 2 out there, and Jordan can join. And it could be that would be called a 2x2, essentially. I'm happy to do that if that's easier to walk the course. That might be the better route, just because for consistency's sake, we're keeping all of our commission and committees via Zoom at this point.
Yeah, I don't see how our whole committee can meet in public
That was Nick's suggestion.
I know. I'm just saying that once it goes through the city, they're not going to allow it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to have to do it via Zoom if it's all of us.
Okay.
You know,
Let's set up the Zoom. Is that okay, Nick?
Yep.
I think it's going to have to be that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the offer stands, though. If you want to walk the course with Jordan and myself, you reach out to us. We're happy to do it. We can do it in groups of 2, or we can just do one-on-one. You let us know. We're happy to do that.
Well, we do have
We have a subcommittee.
a subcommittee that already does that. So
Okay, perfect.
And we do a report to the rest of the committee.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, one less thing you have to worry about.
Okay, now, Dick, what we have to do with this, we still have to put it out to the public because it is a meeting.
Yeah.
So we have to give it to the city, so it has to put it out and what have you. So we may need a little longer time. In other words, the 24th might be too soon for this.
We can probably, so we need 72 hours notice to the public. So let me check the calendar really quick. If you guys get all your information in to Miley by the 14th,
yep.
She's basically going to compile it into maybe just a bulleted format, and then we'll bring it back, and you guys can kind of dive through it in that sense. That's plenty of time. You'll receive the packet of information on August 20th or 21st, and then your meeting will be August 24th.
Okay.
Should we pick or designate people to meet with the men's and the women's club to see what ideas they may have that we may want to bring into our discussion?
I'm the liaison for the men's club.
Yeah. Nick, why don't you do the men's club? Do you belong to the women's club, Sterling?
I do not, and I think it would actually be kind of good to have the woman at the men's club and the man at the women's club. So, but that would be a suggestion.
No. Okay.
Which nobody really wants. So.
I don't think Amanda's still president, right?
No, we have the Marianne McCauley. She was elected the last meeting that we were at.
I'm sorry, darling. Why do you think it's an advantage for you to go to the men's club and Nick to the women's club?
Because then you have someone who's looking at it from a different mindset and can maybe hear something different that's coming from the people. When you only do women with women, you're going to get women ideas where it might open up somebody's, thoughts about how to do things differently. I mean, it's used in business all the time.
I'm happy to reach out to the president of the women's club if I can get her contact information.
Do you know that? Marco, why don't you let me do that, because I know them. Betty Grant and all those people are. So I know all those people. I'll reach out to the women's club. If you do the men's club. Is that good?
And Nick, I know you're a member, but maybe you just keep hearing the same thing, so maybe it would be a good idea to have fresh ears in there. And
what's that?
In other words, Parker going to the men's club instead of Nick. I don't know.
Whoever wants to do it.
Yeah, but I think it's a good idea rather than just the same people who are already members to go in.
So who would like to do the men's club?
Go for it. Somebody else wants to do it?
I would be happy to.
Yeah.
Well, are we going to have the men's club in a group together, or are we talking about liaison with an individual or a couple of individuals?
Yeah, that's the idea that I had, was just to reach out to the president and be able to say what ideas and do you have anything that you'd like to actually bring to this?
I'm happy to volunteer to reach out to the men's club.
There you go. Chris will do it.
So who's doing this, Chris?
Yep.
Yes, Chris.
So Chris is doing the men's club?
Yep.
Yeah.
And does somebody besides me want to do the women's club? Does anybody know Okay,
You
I'll
said
do
you
it.
wanted to do it.
Huh?
You said you wanted to do it.
Yeah, I did. I'll do it. I'll be glad to.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
All right, so we're all set?
We're all set.
So at the end of this meeting, we'll need a motion to adjourn to the August
Motion to
24th
adjourn.
meeting. Okay. Okay, communications? None?
You have the item 4C still.
4B?
4C as in cat. The update of fee and operating policy resolutions.
Okay.
So again, just a quick overview on this to give you guys some background. You all know we've come a long way since we reopened the course. We closed it, we reopened it. We went online, we kind of did an emergency, let's throw golf through the system that we have, which is Civic Rec. We know it wasn't perfect. It was never meant to be perfect and last for the long term. And now we've finally transitioned to 4UP Golf, which is obviously a golf reservation system. And as we've talked about, there's a lot of capabilities in that specific to golf. So in doing that, what staff have recognized and working with Dave and Vinny as well is some of our policies of how we operate are out of date. Again, they don't reflect the modern era of the internet necessarily. And so what you have attached to your agenda report on 4C is the existing operating resolution as it stands today. We're looking for feedback. This needs to be modified. There's in your report by staff, there's a couple of suggested areas, including the cancellation policy, the no-show policy, reservation times for walk-ups. With walk-ups, as was already discussed, there's no room for walk-ups right now because our tees are all of our times are totally booked. And there's set rates for juniors. There's all kinds of stuff in the operating policy. Not all of it has been followed, and some of it's just really out of date. So I know I've gone through it. I have thoughts, but obviously, you're as the committee, you guys are really the folks out there. You're aware of the ebb and flow of the course. So we want to kind of buckle down and see what we can revise to better suit what we have now in our 4UP software. What we learned is our refund policy, we didn't have one, and you don't really need one, but cancellation would be helpful, and no-show policy, those types of things. So looking for the committee's feedback and suggestions on really anything that currently exists. I'm not sure how you best want to go through this. Again, maybe with that background, if it's something you want to bring back to your special meeting, that's okay too, because I know it's a lot to digest. Attached to that also is the fee resolution, which you all did vote on and made a recommendation. It didn't get to council for obvious reasons. Everything kind of came to a screeching halt. And your fee increase was supposed to take effect July 1st. We haven't done that yet. So we have an opportunity to relook at that, or we can move forward with it as is. All of those things are still on the table at this point. So I'm happy to take questions, or you guys can jump into open dialogue.
Samantha, on the topic of rates, I think it would be healthy to sit down with Jordan and Dave Cook and as a committee and have a brief conversation to better understand their perspective. There are clubs today in the current environment that are working to prevent no-shows. One of the ways they're doing that is by allowing you to pay for your green fee for yourself or for your foursome on the website when you make the reservation. Mm-hmm. They're requiring the reservations a day in advance. So there are some creative things that might also come with a discount if you do a non-refundable fee and you pay in advance. We rely on folks walking on the course. It's always been an asset of San Clemente to have the capability at 3 or 4 in the afternoon to come up as a single or twosome and get in line, and it might take you an hour to get out, but it's a treasure that we have to be able to do that. It's also a wonderful way to interact with a lot of people, get to know new people. So we want to serve two masters, but I think we should take a closer look. Parker and I spent some time researching, comparing our rates to other courses in the area, and it certainly should be a preferred pricing setup for the residents of the city of San Clemente. And we, I think, are pretty aligned there. We are slightly out of round when you look at if I lived in another city and I looked at my options to go and play a nice golf course, not necessarily with the views that we have, but our pricing is quite different than the comparison courses that you would find. So I think it merits having bringing a spreadsheet together again with the current rates and current policies. That'll be a little different than it was the last time we've done this. And I think it would be a healthy conversation to have, but I would also like to get input from Dave and his team, David Benning, and then also from Jordan as well.
Okay, absolutely.
Shouldn't this be one of our major projects on our annual work plan?
Absolutely.
This is part of our work plan.
No, I understand that.
I agree.
This is a good undertaking.
What's that?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good project for us to take on.
Well, it's a necessary project.
Everybody else has raised their fees.
Well, and I think the key is we continue to support the residents of City of San Clemente as we have in the past. And we've done an exceptional job, I think, there. But let's take a closer look at it so that we also don't have no-shows and unfilled tee times ever. And whatever we can do to get as high a show-up rate as possible is going to be a component of the plan.
Well, as it is right now, Chris, I'd make a tee time for 10 o'clock next Thursday, for instance, today. My credit card is guaranteed the tee time. I didn't get charged for the tee times next week, but I guaranteed it. If I don't show up, my credit card gets charged for the tee time. Is that correct, Samantha?
Yeah, that's how it should be. We have not implemented that yet because, again, we're sensitive because this is a change, and I absolutely respect that change has to go at a rate that people can handle. So that's why before we implement any of those kind of measures, I think it's really important that we get the committee's backing and we're all on the same page because this is absolutely going to be a concerted marketing effort, if you will, to message that to our longtime golfers and users. So that's why we're kind of sensitive to it in a sense. And even the refunds with Civic Rec, we were really waiving all of our fees associated with that even. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
It also might have to run by the city lawyer. We might not be able to charge for the full tee time. We may be able to charge a cancellation fee or a non-cancellation fee, but not a full tee time fee.
Yeah, we've seen, this, I think the city of Oceanside, if you cancel before 24 hours, you don't get charged. But if you cancel before your no-show, you get charged the full tee time. But again, those are things that can be snuffed out. And I do think some kind of comparison chart, but with surrounding golf courses is really helpful to make sure it's not totally off base.
Well, I'm glad for your sake, Smiley, that we're not having to charge everybody. Every time I book a tee time, I have to pay for it right there. And if I don't show, I have to get credit and all this stuff. So it must be a big load off your shoulders right now. So, all right. So is this part of our? Are we agreed? This is all part of our study plan for the operating plan.
Absolutely.
I think it's our number one project on the annual work plan.
Yep. Okay.
Can we, I think we need a motion to table this.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to table this to our annual work plan?
Not annual, just our work plan meeting September 24th.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, Nick?
That was August 24th, correct?
I'm sorry?
August
Please
24th.
confirm that was August 24th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. You okay with that, Samantha?
Yeah, absolutely. That works.
Parker, was that a delayed aye or an aye on a no?
I was an aye, but I couldn't get up here fast enough to say aye on that one.
Okay.
All right, items from staff. Jordan?
Yes, sir. So yeah, we're in a transition zone right now. Gus obviously left, so abruptly. So we are getting close to, well, we are fully staffed on Monday, just with the staggered schedule. I know Eric touched on that, so we will be kind of fully operational. And with that, we bring in key markers back. We're ready to take on the Pac-9 play when that happens. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline. Going to get some help with Ed Stewart, doing some detail stuff. And yeah, just we're in the middle of summer, so we're just kind of trying to do catch up right now. We're behind the 8 ball a little bit, so yeah, that's about it. We're just doing nothing crazy right now, no big projects. Yeah.
Wood project then is not going forward with the building in the front?
I'm sorry, what?
The Wedgwood project, the building that they were going to put in the front, that's not going forward because it was approved.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that from anyone, so.
Kind of on a standstill right now. Obviously, Wedgwood, you know, they suffered loss with COVID, and they're seeing it across all of their venues, and so they're just really trying to get their feet back grounded with catering services before they can move forward. I'll provide an update on that project for you guys at your special meeting. I'll bring that back.
Great, because we usually meet with them to talk to them about it. So if you're going to do that, that's wonderful.
Need that.
Does the 4-Up software allow us to book the back 9 rounds in addition to the full 18?
It does, actually, and they just released this module or this new component, I want to say yesterday or the day before, which is really phenomenal. It's good news. But so that will come into play. It was a little wonky before they released this, so we're looking at that. Miley's getting herself versed with that, and again, we'll try to get that up and rolling as soon as we can get back 9 play in.
Great. Okay, items from committee members. Upper right-hand corner is Rick. Rick, anything?
Not at this time.
Okay. Garland?
Nope.
Nick?
No, I'm just going to have to get together with Jordan and figure some stuff out.
Tim?
No, I'll table mine till 14th.
Chris?
All set, just trying to make a few more birdies.
I'm just trying to make pars. Jordan, I had a complaint from some women on the tee box on number 3 that they went tee off and they hit the tree. The trees have to be trimmed. And I drove over and looked at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's something I've been barking up the tree, pardon the pun, for a long time. Yeah, we're going to get that sorted. That's definitely a priority of mine, along with some other eucalyptus trees right now on the interior of the course. I know that previously we just kind of focused on the exterior, and we do something, we're more reactive, like we get a complaint and then we go trim it. So that's on my list, along with some other eucalyptus on the interior of our golf course, just for safety reasons. And we want to keep those eucalyptus trees and not create sales so they blow over the next windstorm we get this winter. So yeah, that is definitely going to be addressed soon.
One other thing I noticed, that all the tee boxes, the white tee areas are really used up. There's no grass, there's holes, and there's everything else. I suggest when you put the white tees, especially the blue tees, didn't seem to make any difference, nor the women's tees, but the white tees are really beat up. White tee areas, I should say. So putting them a little ahead or a little bit back to get people off those areas, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our tees right now. 80% of our tees have never looked better, so we're going to eat that other 80% for sure.
Gordon, I wanted to take a chance and thank you for cleaning up the ball catching tree on the left side of the fairway on 17. That has been a nemesis for me, and you got it taken care of this summer, so good job. You're off to a great start.
Thank you. Yeah, that tree on 18 or 17 tee box as well. So that was starting to become a nuisance. So yeah, I'm glad we got those trimmed up.
Get about 500 balls out of that tree on 17. I know that I put about 1,000
yeah, I think so. I think they lost count after 300. I'm not joking.
Fill up the buckets at the driving range.
Yeah, totally. So there's probably lost some of our stone pines as well.
Yeah. Okay, anybody have anything else? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn to the August 24th special meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn until August 24th.
Chris, second?
Second.
Who's second?
Parker still.
Parker.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, there you go, Samantha.
Thanks, you guys. It's great seeing you all.
See you on the 24th.
Jordan, congratulations, and I'm so excited to